That's okay. Yeah, to start with, as we all know, here everyone will be an academicians and they will be knowing what is exactly the mean of an academics. Academics is something which uh, we have to, we will be going throughout the year as a professor or as a lecturer, as an IQAC head, as a principal, whatever the position you are in, into a education institute, the academics is one major thing which we go on. Today we are talking about the academic audit. Why exactly this audit is required, and what exactly is this audit, what all this audit consists of, and what is its importance. That is what we are going to talk today. As we all know that the academic and administrative audit, if in there are the IQAC members or the principals or the people who know the accreditations are available in this particular session, they will understand the AAA audit or administrative and academic audit. These audits are one of the important parameters of criteria 2 in NAC, and these are the audit parameters for NBA as well. The different accreditations like QS IGOG and many others. That is the basic importance that why we need to do this. And doing this academic audit makes your criteria too strong. That is the outcome of always an academic audit. So audit is a systematic review of the processes or the procedures which we have written for academic thing, for teaching learning practices, for curriculum, what we have written for. And it is a audit which will be done to understand or analyze the students' performance, and this audit will give the uh, effectiveness of institutional quality. And also it gives an idea that how we have to improve ourselves or improve in the next year in our academics. That is called continuous improvement. The objective of these or this audit is assess the academic quality and its standards, evaluate the teaching learning processes, review students' outcomes and achievements, identify the strengths and areas for improvement, recommend corrective and enhancement measures. So let us understand the institutional statistics. What exactly the statistics talk about and how we have to understand the statistics of the institution. We have to understand first how many number of departments we have. Departments includes like you have the BCA department, MCA department, BBA, BA, BA in BBA aviation. These all are the departments. One college can have number of departments. And second thing we should understand, number of faculty members we have. So total faculty members department wise and the cumulative complete number. Then students enrollment. What is the intake? That is what the approval of intake you have got from the university, and how many students you have admitted against the enrollment. I mean to say, if you have a 60 seats in a particular department, Out of 60 seats, how many you have filled in? Then what all are the programs you are offering? And finally, the students faculty ratio. These are the things which gives an idea about your institution to understand how best your institution is. Now let us put a idea on what is the process of an audit. Audit process always starts with reviewing the records. Review and academic records, because I'm talking about academic audit today. So I'm telling review of academic records and the documents pertaining to academics. Collect the departmental wise data, the data related to academics. Then collect the feedback of faculty and students, analyze the feedback. Classroom observations has to be noted. Examination and result analysis. Verification of compliance with institutional policies. Audit also is a process, a clear written process telling that academic records, if you are checking, what all are the records you are going to check, what all are the departments data you are collecting, that is list out the data you are collecting and check that as per the policy is the data is available or not available. A feedback also will be checked in the audit process, that when the teacher is going for classes or evaluation methodology the teacher is related to, or the way of teachers um, ideas towards the syllabus, and how the gap between that syllabus and the present scenario been covered by a teacher. So these are the audit processes which we check. Now in this particular audit, what all the areas we are going to cover? Here we cover the curriculum planning and delivery. Here, the teacher, before the commencement of the classes or during the commencement, generally it's a good idea that before the commencement, subject allotment has to be done and the teacher has to go through the subjects and do the planning of the curriculum and also plan the delivery of the curriculum, that on what particular time, which particular topic, and that topic how exactly will be taught, how the complex topic will be simplified. Curriculum means the topics which are very much tough will be simplified and written, that how this will be delivered to our students in a simple manner. That is called curriculum, and this need to be planned well in time and it has to be delivered in a given time, that is in a planned time. So the audit will check that is the curriculum has been planned before and is this curriculum has been delivered in the way what it has been planned. Teaching learning process. This is the area which will be covered in academic audits, where understanding on how the teacher is teaching and learning process is going on. That is an interaction between student and a teacher is going throughout, where the exams will be conducted, where the sessionals, where the test, and how exactly the understanding level of the student is happening on a given subject. Then student assessment and evaluation. Once the teacher is teaching the syllabus, The teacher has to, the exam has to be assessed to understand that is the objective of a teacher towards that subject has been fulfilled or no, or is there any bias in evaluation is going on, is the transparency of this assessment and evaluation is there between a teacher and the student. Then faculty development, like the what kind of planning is there in the institution to do a faculty development programs or give an understanding to the faculties for improving their knowledge. Research and innovations, like how exactly the teachers are being involved along with the students to do research and think about the innovation, getting a new ideas, good ideas. Then what are that parameters utilized during this process? Student support services. What kind of support the students will get either from a teacher or from a college for better learning and better teaching? Infrastructure and learning resources. Sometimes resources and infrastructure plays a major role in teaching learning process. If you have a good classrooms, if you have a good learning resource, if you have a classroom with technology, like you have the proper infrastructure to provide to the students. Then quality assurance practices, like how you are checking all these things. It is quality assurance generally will be done by IQAC team. Now, what are the key findings in curriculum and teaching learning you are going to do it? In teaching learning, the key findings what an auditor generally will check is on curriculum is aligned with the program outcomes, which is really very, very important that the college or the institution should have CO and PO, that is course objectives, course outcomes, and program objectives and program outcomes. The alignment of program outcomes with the curriculum plays a major role in teaching learning. Use of innovative teaching methods, different teaching methods. As I said earlier also, how you are going to do a complex topic into a simple form or understandable level. So that particular technologies or the methodologies what a teacher has been used. Then use of ICT enable learning practices, what kind of technology you are using to do uh, the teaching learning. Then continuous internal evaluation implementation, like IA or internal evaluations which you are doing, internal tests or internal exams, and how continuously you are improving this, how transparent you are to give the internal marks to the students or internal assessment evaluation you are doing, and you are in touch with the students to give that on what basis these marks been given. Industry oriented and skill based activities conducted. So how best and how it has been put into a calendar that you are giving the industry oriented and also a skill based activities. Further, to strengthen, when you are doing this particular audits, you are going to strengthen the areas where student-centric learning approaches, and you are going to give the strength of your teaching learning process by giving effective lesson plannings. That is, when you want to do all this, then definitely you have to do the lesson planning, effective lesson planning. Now, the other thing which we will check on the student performance analysis. Like when you are doing a good academic learning, that is teaching learning, then obviously the pass percentage will be an outcome of your teaching. And uh, your distinctions, your students getting distinctions will be your outcome. University ranks will be your outcome. And how many are going to higher education? You are motivating and making them to take the higher education studies for the students. That is what is the outcome of a good teaching learning process. If your teaching learning process is too good, then pass percentage will be high, your distinctions will be high, your university ranks will be there, and you see your students will flourish with higher education. During this audit, the observations will be done to understand improvement in all over performance. And all over performance here says that how many are completely graduated. That is, in 3 years of time, if at all 60 is your intake at the end of 3 years, is all 60 are being graduated, or is there few who are having backlogs and not graduated? The improvement is a high number of graduations. What you see at the end of the year, that is your academic performance. That is the best teaching learning process. And this processes also strengthen you with the observations on additional support in specific subjects. Once you understand during this audit that some of the subjects are getting low results, or some of the subjects are not giving a particular performance, here you can observe and understand that how best the help you can do to the students in that specific areas or these specific subjects. Faculty development and research. Here, the faculties has to be given an objectives that in a year, how much research has to be done, or the observations in the audit will be done that your teacher in 1 year, how much research has been done, that is how many papers been published. If you go through the accreditation points of it, like NAC also says that in a year, teacher has to publish at least minimum of 2 papers. That is at the Scopus level. That is a benchmark. So if a policies has been set in teaching learning processes that this much publications are required, then the achievements also will be seen. The conference presentation, research projects undertaken, then faculty development programs which has been attended or conducted by the college, then innovation activities, collaborative research efforts. So these are the things where the teachers will be active enough to think new ideas which directly indirectly will be given to the students during their teaching. The student achievements, what we'll check is the number of placements, results, competitive exam success, and sports and cultural awards of the students in this academic audit. Student support and progression in this particular thing, the exact audit will be done on mentoring system, like what kind of mentoring system the college is having or the department is having. And here mentoring system means like if you have identified 4 slow learners in the completion of the semester, what exactly you have done with that 4 students to get them out of that particular situation and grow in other areas or in the studies. Career guidance, that is what kind of placement activities or the training sessions you are doing to a student to make them more supportive towards their jobs or towards a thinking that what exactly they are in need after the graduation. So remedial coachings, counseling services, how best you are aligned for all these things to support a student to get at least pass in their in the subjects. Infrastructure facilities, smart classrooms, laboratories, library resources, computer facilities, internet connectivity. All these are some of the things which we look for the resources. Adequate infrastructure supports academic activities. The major strength, what we try to find as an auditors or the when the academic audit will happen is how many qualified and experienced faculties are there in the department and how effective teaching and learning practices are going and how good the academic results are, how strong your student support system is, and how your policies been improved or procedures been improved to see the improved result. That is continuous quality improvement initiatives. This is the challenge for IQAC, but when you keep at least one objective in 1 year, you are going to improve your policies and procedures and directly indirectly will improve the academic records of the institution. Generally, the observations will be done during these audits, and these audit reports will give you an observations that this year audit says that your result need to be improved, your research need to be improved, you have to strengthen the industry collaboration, or you have to improve your physical infrastructure, or you have to get the funded projects, or you have to give the internship opportunities to the students. All these are the different areas which generally gray areas will be pointed out in academic audits, and that gives a further objective for the next upcoming year to improve. It is not possible that all the objectives can be worked out in 1 year. Actually, each objective uh, has to be improved slowly. Like you keep two objectives and improve that two objectives in 1 year, and then next year you see that other two objectives will be taken care. So that is how the improvement in the teaching learning processes will happen. This needs regular faculty training programs. This needs a promotion of out-based education practices. This needs a research innovation culture, and this needs always an academia and industry interactions and periodic academic reviews. The IQAC should be very, very strong to keep checking at least 6 months once. The check has to be done and identify the areas and keep working. If not 6 months, at least you should have an objective for 1 year. This is some example of an action plan. Like an IQAC should know, after the academic audit has been done, IQAC should understand and put the areas which has been identified during the academic audit as the areas for improvement. Like here in this presentation, I have shown the areas of improvement as research placement, teaching and quality as an example. Likewise, there will be other areas also. The areas what I have chosen, I am showing one example that how I can plan the action for that. if I'm getting these are the areas to be improved, then I will keep these areas and I'll write the action, I'll write the responsibility, who will take care of it, and the timeline. This is very important. That is, if one objective is there, how much time you are going to take to complete that objective is much, much needed. Like research, increase the publications is the action, and who will be the responsible people? Faculty. And what is the timeline? It requires minimum of 1 year. Placements, industry partnership, and who is the responsibility? Placement cell, and it needs at least 6 months. Likewise, you have to jot down, or you people, academicians should understand that what all our gray areas, and point down those gray areas and take at least 2 to 3 objectives to improve in 1 year. At least in a 3 years of time, the improvement in academics will automatically happens. With this, I would like to conclude that the academic audit will always indicate that how the institution has to maintain a academic standards, a quality practices, a continuous improvement. The efforts of the faculty, the efforts of the management, the efforts of each and every person is required to improve the academics. And once the academics is improved, 50% of the academic institution's objective will be fulfilled. And that is where we call it as it is student-centric initiatives. Student-centric initiatives are always will be linked with academic initiatives. And this enhances the academic excellence and institutional performance to the next level. This is a preliminary or a small introductory session to give how important the academic audits are, and to showcase that what exactly the academic audits involves. This is a session which has given an idea that what all has to be checked and how this has to be understandable and what we have to work it further. With this, I thank all the members who are present for today's session, and I'll be happy if any queries are there to answer for today's session. Thank you. I think there is Dr. Magindira Mani Vinayagam.
Yeah, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Ma'am, how many times per year we can conduct internal audit and external audit, ma'am?
So internal audits, if you ask me, as per the ISO standards, minimum of 2 times internal audit has to be conducted. That is either in the beginning of the semester or at the end of the semester. If not, at least 1 time in a year to be conducted. Further, it is again institutional decisions. It can be conducted in 3 months. It can be conducted in every month also. If you ask me, my institution conducts every month audit. So then every month we will check, every month we will take the corrective actions, and every month we'll close the matters of monthly documents.
Ma'am, how to prepare the document? We have the 20 departments in our college.
Okay.
We conduct 6 months once, as you mentioned, per semester once. Department wise, we have to create a IQAC proposed action taken plan, ma'am, or you can make it into cumulative.
No, it should be department wise. You should have first a proper procedure and then policy that how you are going to collect the documents and what all the documents you are going to collect it of. For example, say lesson plan or a course plan file. You should be very clear that in course plan file, what all you are expecting and what audit will be done on it. Here I can take an example that the semester has been started in July 1st, and the course plan has to be ready by June end. That is at least 2 days before the commencement of the classes. This is the first check the academic audit can do. If at all the teacher has been not prepared the plan before the commencement of the classes, that is the biggest drawback because teacher is not knowing that what to be done, what to start. And secondly, is the dates which has been given, if at all in first week first unit will be completed, if the teacher has mentioned that in the course plan, then is in that week that has been completed, that is called weekly report, where teacher has or HODs has to be collecting on a weekly basis. That has to be checked. And second thing is that if at all in that 1 week 4 classes been given to a teacher and the teacher has to complete 1 unit and the teacher could not complete 1 unit, then what is the reason? Why? The micro level of the things has to be gone in one file. So for this, you should be first orientation to be given to your teachers that what will be checked and what is needed in your file. Is the file should have the curriculum plan, file should have the examples of the assignments, is file should have the question bank, all this checklist has to be given, and as per the checklist you are going to check on this, and this will be department wise, like HOD will be taking care on a regular basis, that is on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. IQAC will check 6 months once. So now your procedure should be very, very clear that on a daily basis or a monthly basis, who is taking responsibility. And when IQAC does after 6 months, then who is responsible? Is head of the department or directly a teacher? This should be written in your procedure. And as per that procedure, you have to do, you can do in 6 months, but it should be department wise. It cannot be cumulative.
Ma'am, previously we are having the ISO audit, but recently we closed the ISO audit, we start the AAA audit. Is it mandatory
Okay.
to conduct both ISO and AAA audit, or we can go for AAA only, ma'am?
ISO is completely different than AAA. But when you do an ISO, you can consider that as AAA, but never AAA becomes ISO.
Yes, ma'am.
Never AAA can be shown as ISO. But when you do ISO, you can show that as AAA.
Okay.
I think you are understanding the difference.
Yeah, I
ISO,
understand the bus stop. Yes.
yeah.
But ISO,
IS,
it takes a huge money of expenses, nearly say 6 lakhs to 7 lakhs for 3 years. But AAA, we can conduct it ourselves, we can make it into action technable.
correct. I understand the financial matters comes in, but if you follow ISO perfectly as per the policies of the timelines and as per the policies 10 clauses of ISO, then the standards of your college will be different. But if you are doing just to do ISO, then it is difficult. Then better to go with AAA. But following ISO will be the best way to improve your organization because all will talk as per the clause if you go with ISO. If you are going with AAA, there is no clause, there is no NCs, there is no anything, just the gray area identification and working through that.
Are you recommended ISO or AAA, ma'am?
I recommend ISO.
ISO. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Because ISO gives you the standardization when you anywhere, if you give ISO certified institution, that value and that this one is different.
Can we also audit the transport, other administrative areas like transport, mess, canteen, like that, ma'am? Or we can move on to academic side only?
For ISO.
For AAA.
For AAA, you can do administrative and academic. AAA means, see, when you are doing ISO, it doesn't mean that you should not do AAA. You
Okay.
can do both. My institution will do both ISO as well as AAA. Because AAA we will do for administrative and academics. That is, administrative involves your administration part also. And ISO will be for the whole organization, including from your governance. Right. So I suggest you have to do both, because audits are something which will give you the idea how to improve.
In
That is
NAC,
why.
okay, ma'am.
Yes, tell me.
Yeah, if a new NAC revised accreditation framework is awaiting everybody, what the expectation they ask for ISO or AAA like that? Because they mentioned that any one audit below like that, they're having some.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
Yeah,
Any
if we
one
go for
audit.
if we go for AAA, they accept or not, ma'am?
See, they said anyone, but
Okay.
still there is no clarity till they give it on onto the people, that what exactly how much we know and everybody know by now is anyone, they said. Possibly they will take it whatever you give, but if you give ISO, the value of that will be different, and if you give only the other thing, you will get it, but the understanding on your institution with ISO and audit, if you give both, then it is much more good. It is like you are giving the perfection there.
How
No
can we
one will
report
tell.
to, yes, thank you. How can we report
No.
to NAC? For example, we conducted audit, we
Hmm.
analyzed SWOT analysis,
Hmm.
then IQAC proposed action taken plan.
Hmm.
Then each and every plan that should be actionable. Like, how can we,
Hmm.
after that, how can we report to NAC? What is the format? Like,
Report to NAC. It is like your IQAC only cannot report.
okay,
Actually, these audits has to be done by the external body, like IQAC Cluster.
okay,
Now, through which we are doing this podcast, we will do the AAA. That is, what your IQAC will do inside will not be reported to the NAC.
okay,
The external body who will do AAA will be reported, because they will give you a report
okay.
that this institution we have audited and these are the gray areas and this is how the institution is sealed, signed by the people, and that will be submitted. That is called report.
For example, previous first we conducted first AAA audit, ma'am. This next month we're going to conduct second. I identify some, as you mentioned, some gray areas, but it's highly financial involved. Management, also principal, they're not ready to. How can we convey this, or how can you overcome this issue?
I think this is not a right platform that we have to discuss on the management issues. Actually, you have to solve it internally, or you can connect it to the cluster for more suggestions.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your valuable suggestion.
Thank you.
Ma'am, should we end then? If no more
Yeah.
questions?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such an insightful session on academic audit. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll meet in next podcast episode. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.